Like, if you know, I'm gonna need to take a professional, deep breath. We all can do it together. Yeah, feels good. All right. So, good morning, everyone. My name is Brianna Alcorn, and this is my presentation from voltages to visuals. The atmosphere surface flux stations, or ASFS, the study of precipitation, the lower atmosphere, and surface to hydrometeorology. Oh. The Colorado River Basin provides water to many people across the western U.S., and SPLASH's mission is to better understand precipitation, specifically snowfall and snowmelt within the East River Basin in Colorado. To aid in that mission, 2 ASFSs, which is this right here, were deployed at 2 sites in Gothic, Colorado. The ASFS is designed to maintain power for a long period of time without having to be connected to electricity. It collects atmospheric data for long periods of time, it collects atmospheric data for us to be able to better understand the energy exchange between land and atmosphere. My project's main objectives were to collect information on the setup of the ASFSs, track what each sensor monitors and measures, and then be able to visualize and analyze the data. And so this is a map of Crested Butte, and these are where the 2 sites are located. One site is Avery Picnic, and the other site is Kettle Ponds. So these are pictures that I took at both sites. Avery Picnic, it sits at about 2,934 meters elevation, and the second is Kettle Ponds, and it sits slightly lower at 2,863 meters, and they're both located in Gothic, Colorado, near Crested Butte. So I began my research by going to both sites and completing a site assessment. It was notable that there was a decrease in air quality by the fires in Arizona that week, but it was mostly clear. I took notes of anything in the area that might impact the ability of the sensors to collect data. Kettle Ponds is in an open valley, but Avery Picnic has a grove as well as slopes in the area. I also took note of vegetation in the area, which is mostly flowers, dandelions, and grass. The next part of my project was to track each sensor and what it measures. There are many sensors on the ASFS, but cool. So we're gonna be looking at these ones right here, which are the radiations, and this one right here, which is temperature. The data that was selected was from April of this year. Looking at the light blue and dark blue lines on the graph, which signify the Vaisala at both Kettle Ponds and Avery Picnic, we noticed that generally Avery Picnic was about 1 degree Celsius cooler than Kettle Ponds. This can be linked to the fact that there are high slopes surrounding the area, whereas Kettle Ponds is more in an open valley. There's a lot going on here, but stay with me. So while temperature is pretty straightforward, radiation is a little bit of a different story. There is shortwave radiation, which is radiation that comes from the sun. Long wave radiation is radiation that comes from the earth. Both long wave and short wave radiation have a downwelling and an upwelling. Downwelling faces up because there is radiation coming downwards. Whereas up radiation faces downward as there is radiation coming up from the ground. Are we all with me? You look a little confused there. I think you're still with me here, all right. For short welling, we see that there is less solar radiation at both sites. This is expected as there should be more solar radiation hitting the downwelling. For long wave upwelling, there is more radiation for both sites, whereas for downwelling, there is less. Again, this is expected as radiation from both sites, or from radiation from the Earth should be hitting the upwelling. When we look at net radiation, the data from both sites is almost identical, and that's going to be this graph right here. This is most likely because they are close in longitude and latitude, therefore are looking at similar skies. Discrepancies on clear days, like the domes we see up here in the box on the shortwave graph, are likely due to mountain shadows. From these graphs, we're able to make a couple of conclusions. The difference in temperature impacts when the snow can melt out, or when the snow would melt out. We also took a look at May's raw data and found that Avery Picnic had a meltout date of May 12th, whereas Kettle Ponds had a meltout date a week earlier at about May 4th. This led us to believe that the snowpack varies with location. Each station may not be representative of the snowpack evolution. For future work in 2022 to 2023 ASFS data, it will be interesting to compare the melt onset and melt out in these two locations to better understand precipitation across the basin. And